Hey fam, what's going on today? Of course, today is my favorite day of the week. We're here live every single Sunday. Today we've got a great Q&A. It's less about cooking, more about answering your holiday questions. We're going to do two, not just one, but two of these this week. One will be today. We're going to do another one Wednesday. I have hopefully a special friend who's going to be joining me. He and I have a long history of doing this episode together, and I would be absolutely devastated if he's not able to at least pop in for a minute, because we started this about 5 years ago. He and I did the first holiday Q&A. So he is a great chef. He's a culinary school buddy of mine, and I'm just really excited about him being here. So if you can't make it today live, don't worry. You'll have an opportunity on Wednesday as well. So again, as you're there, you're prepping up Wednesday, you got questions in your brain, you'll be able to ask Wednesday night questions. Now, we have some questions that are saved up through Facebook comments, messages, and things. We put it out during earlier in the week. And again, today is all about answering those questions. I have a turkey here on deck if we need to make any illustrations or anything like that. I got a whole turkey video that's going to come out this week, and I'm super excited about it. So first question. Have to pass the mic.
What is one underrated technique that instantly elevates a holiday dish from home cook to wow cook?
What technique? So I think for me, it really is nailing the turkey. When somebody gets the turkey right, it really is the absolute game changer. I think we've all had a multitude of really, really bad cooked turkeys. My wife is over here nodding her head. We've been at several holiday parties, both this year, last year, and forever. We've had super dry turkeys. When somebody nails the turkey cook, you're like, all right, this guy's a foodie, fist bumping him, checking in with him. And again, it's just, there's something special because it's such a lean meat. It's so easy to dry out. So there's a couple things we can do to help it prevent drying out. So first things first is I like to add fat. A lot of times there's that layer, if you're looking at the turkey and you're right at the very top of the turkey by the neck, I like to kind of peel out with a knife right there. And then I like to stash butter and fat up in there. Sometimes maybe I got a little bacon grease I want to slide and sneak up in there. Maybe you just use butter, but we need to add fat into that. Another way to do that is to warm that fat up, and you can inject it into that turkey as well. But it really needs to add fat to be able to keep it moist. That turkey breast in particular, the thighs and stuff, they got enough intermuscular fat to help them out, but those breasts can get super dry. So adding a little bit of fat there. The second thing is to help people out and keeping it a good turkey is making sure that they don't overcook it. I'm amazed at how many people don't know the proper cooking temperature of poultry. We did this with our coworkers or our employees at work, and just kind of just asked around from the front of house staff to the back of house staff. And we were amazed at how many people don't know the internal cooking temperature of poultry. So we're trying to reach 165 degrees, not 170, not 190, not 200, not 275. We're looking for 165. And as soon as I can hit that number, I actually cheat it a little bit in most years. And hear me out on this, because it's going to maybe be slightly controversial. Maybe you got to plug your ears to hear this, but I don't even take it all the way to 165. This thing, when it cooks, it is a giant mass of thermal energy. And so I just got to get this whole mass to 165. And so what I can do, though, is pull at 161, 162. And by the time I put it out on the countertop, I can rely that this thing is going to carry over cook for easily the next 20 minutes. It's going to continue to raise at least 5 degrees into the center. And so again, making sure that if you pull at 165, by the time it actually sits, Its internal temp is going to finish off up at 170, 172. But by pulling it in those low ones, 160, 162, I know that I can carry over cook across. So, third thing is, I think the biggest mistake people make is this bad boy. It comes out, it gets sat on the counter, and then immediately people start slicing into this thing. And that is an absolute uh, dumpster fire waiting to happen. We get in a rush. We always, the ovens, not everyone's got a double oven like we do. But that was the whole reason my wife forced me to get one is, we can have multiple things. Most people don't have that though. So when we're at like my mother-in-law's house, we've got one oven, everything's got to be going in through that oven. So I get it. Things are getting rushed at the end. I had rather rush a casserole than I would the turkey. So I even do turkeys typically actually the day before. That way I've got plenty of time to make a turkey neck gravy and get all the bones and make my stock to make the gravy the next morning. That's just me. That's my preference. But pulling it out of the oven, and it needs to sit for a minimum of an hour. Minimum of an hour. And most people don't do that. I think it's one of the best explanations that I've seen out there is, kind of Elton John's when when something's cooking up, again, we're creating thermal energy and energy. Think about all these cells running around. Well, if we slice into it, those cells got to fill in that space. So they immediately gush out. But if we allow it to rest, it allows the cells to slow down. So they sit in place whenever we go to slice. It'll make for a much juicier turkey. Let's try our next question. There we go.
How far in advance should people start prepping for their big holiday meal?
I believe good prep starts. Get that on here. I believe good prep for a holiday meal probably starts in the weeks coming into it, if not months. And that sounds maybe a little crazy, but we make a lot of our stocks and stuff. You look behind me right now, we have a giant pot of stock going behind us made from all of the two stocks. I don't know if you can see the other one out of camera. Oh, you can? Yeah. So we got two big stock pots working over here behind me. And we're all about making all of our stocks. And again, we get a much better product. And ultimately, it's a lot cheaper as well. We're already using bone-in meats and things like that around. So we save all the bones, and then once a month to 2 times a month, we'll go and we'll just make stocks. We freeze them up, hold on to them, and then we make a big pot of stock at one time. We had a whole pig roast last night as a first part of our Thanksgiving. We did a Friendsgiving this week here on the farm and had lots of family, friends, neighbors, work friends. I mean, it was a beautiful, amazing time. But we had all kinds of pork left over. And so all those bones from the pig, we immediately put down in the stock pot. Hey, everybody out there.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. The But things we can get done in advance are things like making the stock, the cornbread to make cornbread dressing. That's something that can be made a couple weeks in advance and frozen if you have the space, or a couple days in advance. You actually want it to be dry so it can soak up more stock. That's just going to add more. It's going to allow it to soak in more flavor. Other things, again, all the spices, the marinades, and all that stuff you can be making in advance.
Good.
We're good? Okay. Thought maybe our live crashed. Okay. the Also some things, again, like I actually pre-cook my turkey. I don't wait for the morning of. For me, I like making that turkey stock and making it super, super rich. So I typically make it either 2 days, 48 hours before, or 24 hours before. And then I'll go ahead and carve it, slice off, fan out all the beautiful meat in a disposable pan or whatever pan I'm using. And then I will, from there, take the bones, make my stock, the necks, the giblets, and all that stuff. And then I will turn around, make my stock, and the next morning it's just super easy to walk in, strain that, thicken it up, and I've got my turkey gravy made from scratch. Oh,
Okay. So, what are your go to flavor profiles for a holiday ham?
my favorite sides. You said my favorite sides for a go-to?
No, flavors.
Flavors.
Flavor flavors.
Flavor flaves. All right, so I like the pineapple and brown sugar. I think that's a pretty good classic, or a Dr. Pepper. Again, thicken it up with a little bit of cornstarch and glaze it up. I'm really about the brown sugar pineapple. That's my favorite. That's my go-to. Really feeling a little extra saucy, slap a little bourbon in there or something like that. Kind of give it that just a tad bit of alcohol flavor on it. But there's lots of I've seen some though. I saw like a last year I had like a sriracha spice and it was really good. Um, I haven't really had nothing too crazy. Pineapple, we're really, I hate to say it, but we're maybe that needs to be our next video, is being locked in, finding maybe a couple of new flavors of hams for us to do. I'll admit, I'm pretty locked in on the pine. That's what it's expected, right? The turkey that's sliced out and the pineapple ham with the cherry on it. There's certain things that we just in American cuisine that we gotta have, and I feel like that's one of those. What's the next question? No fruit?
Okay, what is the secret to perfect homemade gravy, especially if we don't have enough drippings?
If we don't have any drippings, we don't have enough drippings. So the drippings are specifically coming from the ham, or the turkey as it's being finished. That's why I like doing mine the day before. Again, kind of build back on that. So again, I'm making my stock and I get to have all of that juice that gets poured into that stock. So I'm getting the double down on that flavor. If you're just in a pinch, like I don't have that as an option, I did it morning of. Your options are, you can add chicken base. Like I like the pastes that are out there. Those do for me a little bit better than the chicken stocks. You get a little bit more concentratable. I don't know if that's a word or not. But again, you start adding in a very strong chicken flavor and it's going to overpower your turkey flavor. So you got to find that balance. A lot of times it's really about adding some salt. So again, make sure your sodium levels are on point. And then again, don't add anything in there if that's going to overpower what little flavor that you do have. Did you solve that other problem?
We're good.
Okay.
What three side dishes do you think every holiday table should have? Three top three sides.
Top three sides.
Go over this on Wednesday because I know you
Top three sides. Obviously, for Thanksgiving, I gotta have dressing. Christmas, I don't necessarily have to have dressing. I like it. I love it. But dressing is like non-negotiable for Thanksgiving, I think. Now, I think the question also needs to be is what kind of dressing? If we need to be more specific, because there's different now we're talking like stuffing. Are we talking like a southern dressing? Because we don't.
question. I just said sides.
But here in the South for dressings, though, you have like Kaneka sausage dressing. Remember when we lived down in Mobile, we had oyster dressing, and that was a big deal down there. Not my particular cup of tea. I don't like the texture of oysters in the middle of my dressing, but when we did big events down there for the holidays, that was their non-negotiable, was oyster dressing. For me, I gotta have just a good old fashioned southern chicken and cornbread dressing. Again, maybe throw some stuff shredded into it. My grandmother liked to shred squash in hers, and that always made for a really special. Second, mac and cheese. We're gonna double down on our starches. Gotta have the super ooey gooey mac and cheese that just, oh, it just sends you to someplace. if you're watching, leave down below just so we can see in our comments later where what are your three non-negotiables? Because I think that's a fun conversation to have. Is what are your three sides? And my third side that's non-negotiable for Christmas. This is really tough because I feel like the traditionalist in me wants to say green bean casserole because I don't eat it any other time of the year. I love green bean casserole, but unfortunately, we only eat it once a year. However, oh man, I got a three and I got a 3.5. So three. So the third one, I love Brussels sprouts cooked in bacon fat. I love roasted Brussels sprouts. It's always something that's just it's really hearty. It's good. I like my vegetables, and I definitely love my vegetables cooked with bacon. And so we'll typically crumble up bacon, roast off our Brussels sprouts, and then we'll add like cranberries and onions, butternut squash, and it just makes this really hearty side that I think just pairs well with everything, especially when you add in like the craisins, all the different flavors in there. It just pairs really, really well. It's strong in flavor, but it doesn't overpower everything else. 3.5. I guess we're gonna go into the dessert. Mary Eve makes this in the South we call it pink stuff or pink salad or almost like a spin on was it a not a, is it a Mendoza salad, Bedrosia salad? There's something like ambrosia salad, but she calls it schnookos, and but yeah, it's like this gelatin whipped cream with like mixed fruit and oh yeah, gotta have the marshmallows in there. It's so good. It's super sweet and delicious. And I think, and again, it's light. I think a lot of times when you're getting through Thanksgiving, you're eating all of this food and then you get to dessert and you've almost got to go take a nap before you can have dessert. With this, you feel like you can have dessert and it's not going to absolutely kill your stomach.
Little fun fact, I did a very short poll before we did this without you knowing. So, your children's top three must have foods at Thanksgiving
Yeah.
were turkey, mac and cheese, and Brussels sprouts with craisins and and butternut squash. So that's what our kids um said in our Thanksgiving stuff. So you do have a question about Hell's Kitchen, and they want to know did you make how was it, and did you make friends? And then we'll go on to the next
Okay.
certain
Yeah.
question.
Well, so Hell's Kitchen was an absolute blast. It's still crazy in many ways to see something that's it's obviously all pre-recorded a little bit, but it's always a blur. It was 3.5 weeks of blur. So by the time that you get there, you're done. You're a couple weeks back home. It just feels like it never really happened. You just have like weird nightmares about Gordon Ramsay yelling over your shoulder, and then all of a sudden you see it on television and you're not just reliving it, you're reliving it with everyone around you. And it was a very fun experience. Did I make friends? Absolutely. There are several people there that I'm hoping I'm lifelong friends with. I'll always be lifelong cheerleaders for them. Pretty much everyone on the blue team is absolutely dope. I think this we were talking to producers and everything and previous contestants, and they many of the other seasons don't have I think what we have in like our team, in that we're still friends. Like again, I wish them the best. I really don't have anyone on the blue team but I was like, man, I really hate their guts. I enjoyed competing with them. It was a challenge, and it's tough. The show doesn't do justice on how talented the blue team really is, or the red team for that matter. There's some great talent on that side as well. On red team, there's obviously some amazing human beings that are over there as well. We got an honorary, she's officially blue now, Jada. Jada's absolutely amazing. Of course, Cara Marie. You've got all of, I can't name all of them, but they're all amazing. But yes, so blue team, shout out. We got our own Hell's Kitchen messaging group where we message each other every day, check in with each other. Blue team, we're posting recipes, content together, all kinds of stuff. We've on here, if you want to see content from our other chefs, go back and you can watch some previous lives because they've been here. Everyone from Henry, Jaden, Antonio, they've all been here on the show. Bradley, so make sure that you check that out.
All right. Good times. What is we're going to do one last question on savory, then we're going to move on to the sweets. Okay. So, I know. So, what would be a fun, creative, but simple twist on traditional mashed potatoes, knowing that not everybody out here is a certified, internationally trained chef like you?
So spins on mashed potatoes. So one, I love it when people like whip boars and cheese. So you get like that super garlicky, funky, a little bit of cheese flavor in there without it being over powerful. That would be like my first one. Maybe add a little truffle, just when I mean a teaspoon, I mean like a tiny little bit of truffle oil to kind of, again, it'll smooth it out, but also add a little bit of that flavor to it. Next, I like it when people kind of mix up the mashed potato dish as a whole. So maybe they do potatoes like dauphinoise, where they do like they pipe the potatoes into like the Christmas tree and they hit it with a little bit of clarified butter and bake it. So you have like this crispy outside, but still nice gooey inside. And then for mashed potatoes, really comes down to nailing the mashed potatoes. A lot of people just boil some potatoes, skin, they just chop it rough, they add it in, boil it, throw in milk, cream, butter. But I like it when people take the time, they peel it, they boil it out. Then they, of course, then you run it through the ricer machine properly and then mix it in. It just makes for this smooth, decadent. You can tell when people go way over the top on their potatoes, and then people who basically use pearl granulated potatoes. I cannot stand pearl granulated potatoes. It's not my thing.
On to the sweet section.
To the sweet.
How do you keep your pies from having soggy bottoms?
Soggy bottoms. So nobody likes soggy no, SpongeBob soggy bottoms. So the first things first is I like to par bake. Depending on the pie, I'll par bake that pie shell to give it a little bit of a head start. The second part is making sure that it's actually sealed. A lot of times we're dumping things in, or especially when we use frozen ones, they'll have cracks and stuff in the bottom. Well, that's an area where the juices can get through and kind of ruin that underside. That typically means we either undercooked it, so we cooked it too fast and high of a temperature that we didn't get it cooked all the way through, or there was something wrong with our dough itself. And again, just kind of take your time, make sure that dough is solid. I like to kind of poke holes with a fork and on the bottom, and then bake it for about 5-10 minutes. Just kind of get it 50% of the way there, then add in the toppings, and then go in for the bake. For me, that makes a nice crispy pie shell bottom, because the goal is obviously you want like that TikTok moment, right? Where you put it in and you still got the perfect slice. I think most of those are AI edited. If I really had to be honest with you, most people can't get that. We actually have a family friend that makes perfect apple pies every time, and it makes me so jealous. Every single time I have his pie, it makes me jealous.
He's in our house.
I'd say he's actually here. So
Maybe he needs to do a YouTube tutorial on the most amazing perfect pie, because his pies are, they sell for like 70, 150. I think we sold one for $150 for charity
yeah.
last summer. So that's good stuff. All right, let's talk about common mistakes. Let's start with rolls. The common mistake with basic yeast rolls.
Common mistakes, I think, first off, buying pre-made rolls. you know, Rolls are super easy to make from home. It's literally like 4 or 5 ingredients. My wife made some last night to go with our barbecue. They were absolutely delicious. They're very, very simple to make. A lot of people just go and they pick up, the quick Hawaiian rolls, and those are fine. But I think a lot of people toast those down in the oven and they burn them. That's always something that I see. But make And they're expensive. They are. They're like $5, $6 for like a cheap little tray of them. I would I would rather the day before make off a whole bunch of rolls for you to have. Once you do it a couple of times, it's very easy and you can make 20, 30 rolls easily out of a Minute Maid mixer. It doesn't require that much mixing space. Because again, you make the dough and it's going to rise up. You punch it down, portion it out, roll it up, and then you'll let them proof again, and they'll proof back up in these beautiful, perfect rolls, and they just taste better. And then you can add on flavors. So you can again add honey butter, maybe make a rosemary butter, herb butter. There's so many things you can do with it from there. But once you get a mediocre roll, we've all had, and I'm not dissing on Hawaiian rolls. They're not bad. As far as like a holiday roll, they're probably one of my favorites. As far as like the pre-made ones that you go to the store and buy, but it's just we've all had it. There's nothing special about it. I'd rather have it with like pulled pork on it than necessarily wasting it for a holiday meal.
Mistakes on cookies.
Mistakes on cookies. The joys of undercooking versus overcooking. I like mine ooey and gooey. I'd rather them be a little slightly undercooked. I love, some people got to have like the super crispy chocolate chip cookie, and that annoys me. I like gooey chocolate chip cookies. I don't care if they're falling apart on the plate. I'd rather have them slightly ooey gooey than have them like super crisp and hard, and you feel like you're biting into a cracker. Yeah, breaking your teeth off.
Right. Well, one of these questions I think you've already answered, but what's your favorite holiday dessert that's surprisingly easy for home cooks? The schnickos is pretty easy, but is there another one you might want to dive into real quick?
So we actually have a video out for it, and that's bread pudding. Bread pudding is a great go-to here in the South. Again, it requires a very minimal amount of ingredients. It can be upscale, it can be downscale. The most easiest one that we make, it's really like a French toast mix of heavy cream, eggs, sugar, cinnamon, vanilla. Whip that up, chunks of whatever kind of leftover bread that you've saved in your freezer throughout the year, and then you bake it off till it's nice and cooked through. And then here in the South, we got to have our bourbon sauce. And so again, our we're very, we're very weird about our alcohol sometimes here in the traditional South, but every grandmother around here makes bourbon sauce. My grandmother made bourbon sauce. And so it's a kind of like a tradition. The key is, though, is how much bourbon do you put in? Do you cook off all of the alcohol? That lets me know if you're Baptist, if you're Lutheran, or if you're Catholic.
Could have gone that one, right? Okay, we're going into the stress side of the holiday meal because sometimes it can get a little stressful having all these people over. Sometimes they're friends, sometimes they're family, sometimes they're family that you don't like, but you have to have over anyways.
Yeah.
So, how do you strategize your cooking timeline so that everything finishes at the same time and it's low stress?
First thing is to notice nothing ever cooks at the same time. That's the first thing you need to know. So don't freak out. It's really about, again, get the important stuff done early. When you've watched me either on TV or in a competition, or whether you've seen me at the restaurants, I like to knock out the hardest stuff right out the gate. The most important thing, the wow factors, anything like that, I just tackle and go towards. I had rather focus on that and have the wow factor done, and I can put together some sides and dressings and things like that. They're very simple to make, so you don't have to go crazy over the top with them, but you need to nail the meat. So I would do, my biggest thing was recommending proteins first. That way they are in the ovens. They take up so much real estate in there. So get them in, get them out. And again, they got to rest for an hour anyways. So during that hour, you can load up on all those casseroles and get everything done in the ovens. And I think that's kind of one of the low key, the biggest thing is getting those out. Number one, get those proteins out. And again, in that hour, while you're letting this rest, push all of your sides through the oven. Most of them take 45 minutes to an hour. So again, you should be pulling them out right as this is going to be ready.
All right, what's your best advice For cooks hosting a large group of people for the very first time.
Your first time hosting, you're cooking for family and friends, and it's your first time. Don't make it overly complicated. No one expects you to put out a Michelin star meal. Go out, enjoy the meal, make it super simple. Again, a very basic turkey, a very basic ham. Basic does not mean unflavorful. It just means that you don't have 10,000 garnishes and things. I'm amazed when I go and you go there and somebody's got like little spikes all over the ham with the cherry, with a little piece of peppercorn or something stashed into each thing. It's like, yes, that's beautiful, but let's be honest, we're really not going to eat all that. It's really just for vanity's sake, and it doesn't necessarily add flavor to it. So I would spend all of your time just getting the simple things right. Make a really good cornbread dressing. Make a really good turkey. Again, focus on not overcooking the turkey or the ham. And then just have three sides that you really, really like. You don't need 20. You don't need 10. You really just need 3 to 5 sides if you're hosting 10 people or more that just hit the wow factor. So again, we've got some great recipes built into the channel. If you've not watched them, everything from collard greens. I love fried, like southern fried cabbage. You got like bacon and sausage and all kinds of things like fried up in there. That's super delicious. Man, that might be one of my top sides of all time, if I had to be honest with you. But focus on keeping it simple. I think that's the key. I really think to most holiday cooking.
All right. So, what are some vegetable forward or plant based dishes that still feel festival? Festive.
Man, we need Cara Marie. Cara Marie, where are you? Um, so I think top based, plant based items. So for me, I'll admit I kind of struggle with plant based, but there's some great things we can add. So I like Brussels sprouts still. So minus the bacon, that option would still work for your sides. We all have that 1 to 2 friends that are vegetarians or vegan. So I think that's a great dish. So if they're vegetarian, you could still add something like a little bit of honey and balsamic glaze to toss them in to add some flavor factor. There's also some things like chickpea meatloaf. We're going to put meatloaf in quotation marks that are, I think, great ideas and great in practice. It's just very simple, but it's also very easy to mess up. So I would stick. Say what? Dry run it first. Again, I think there's great options that are out there that are plant based. I mean, you can have a great green bean dish that doesn't have meat in it. When you start imitating meats, that's when you kind of start getting into the nitty gritty. Like you can make a great bowl of collard greens and use vegetable stock and be great. Sweet potatoes is another great one. There's lots of things you can do, but when you're starting about like imitating a turkey, that's kind of when you start getting to some really complicated. And for me, I did a stint. I mean, when I mean a stint, I mean like I lasted about 4 days as a vegan. The we did a I trial ran it in college. You know how you go through that hippie hair to the side. I'm gonna go vegan. And there were some dishes that I really like. I like the flavor of vegetables. I want vegetables to be vegetables. I want my meats to be meats. And so I go through phases where I don't necessarily eat meat for every single meal, but I also don't force my vegetables to be meat, or I would just eat meat. I think by the time that you get a piece of soy product and then force it and shape it and flavor it with God knows what to get it to taste like chicken, just eat chicken. It's all good. All right. God made the chicken for us to eat.
All right. So, what are some flavors? Excuse me. What are some spices or herbs that instantly bring the turkey from a turkey to a holiday turkey, or any dish for that matter?
So things that can elevate a turkey. So
Like spices or herbs that scream a holiday.
that scream holiday. So I'm going to go traditional and non-traditional.
Yeah.
So for traditional things like thyme, oregano. I be cautious with rosemary. I would put rosemary on the outsides. Don't put rosemary on your actual turkey. It'll still add flavor, but it will not overpower your turkey. I've seen people try to rub rosemary on, and the only thing it tastes like licking a pine tree. Gotta be very, very cautious with rosemary and white meats. But sage is another great one. On the non-traditional side, I've been really kind of getting into that side a little bit. I've been dabbling to figure out, since moving here to the deep south, I have found a deep love, and I think this is kind of obvious from my videos. I have found a deep love for all these different Cajun spices. Specifically, I'm gonna go grab it. I'm gonna go grab it.
No, don't
Wow.
do
Oh,
it.
hold on. Oh, the other one's down there. I don't have it up here.
Do
Oh wait, I do have it. I do have it. She's gonna be mad at me.
It's on everything we eat.
So first thing, a little bit of Cajun seasoning. We like some slap your mama sauce around here. Some slap your mama Cajun seasoning. Whoop, a little bit. Next thing, again, if I wanted to heat it up, I wanted to add some flavor. It's got the seasoning. It's got the spice. Man, you can't go wrong with some crab oil, man. Some Louisiana Cajun seasoning. Put it, mix it up with in a slurry with some apple juice. Pump that in there with an injector. It'll make one of the best turkeys, especially if you're smoking the turkey. The flavor is just astronomically good. It's so delicious. Everyone, she makes fun of me, but the last two times that we have made smoked chicken, I've used Cajun fire and apple juice as an injection, and both parties absolutely crushed that smoked chicken. So she can hate on it, but I know it's loved and it works every single time. And again, here in the South, we love all the elements that are in crab boil. There's sugar, there's salt, there's spice, there's savory. There's really kind of all those sugar, spice, and everything nice. It really is kind of like that all-purpose seasoning. People make fun of it all the time when I travel out. Like, oh man, you just sprinkle that on everything, and it really is, man. I could sprinkle this on a Christmas tree cake, and I'd love it. I would. There's not a whole lot that doesn't go good with craw boil. Holiday question. And so first off is, have you had a cooking injury from Kobig 27? So how about, yes, my fingers they are scarred up. They are absolutely jacked. I have lost many of fights to a French mandolin. That is the mortal enemy of my fingers. I've also managed to slice my finger on like a meat slicer. I don't know if you've ever heard the sound of a meat slicer grinding on your bone, but it does not feel good. I've lost an eighth of an inch of my finger, not just once, but twice. And it's typically from somebody, you're sitting there slicing, and your beautiful wife walks in the room and you look up to look at her, and then you slice, or somebody comes and talks to you, which is what most happens most of the time in kitchens now. I'm sitting here chopping away, and then somebody comes over to, hey chef, what do you got going on? And then sure enough, I look up and whack goes my finger. Yes, that it definitely hurts. I say one thing: if you ever get like the safety guards on mandolins, they're really useful, but I hate using them. I'll be honest with you. They make the safety guard, and yet I still don't use them. But they're one of the best kitchen tools that you can have. I love mine. We got a couple different versions of them. We got the ones that makes like the spaghetti spirals. We got one that makes waffle fries. We've got one that does like the straight slices to make like potato chips and things of that nature. So it's a great tool to have.
Are we doing a gadgets video?
Oh,
A kitchen gadget.
speaking of, yeah.
And then that can finish our holiday. What are some holiday kitchen gadgets that would be fun for Thanksgiving?
Holiday kitchen gadgets. Uh, so we're actually got a whole video coming out here right at the beginning of December. We're gonna be talking about my top picks for anybody looking to buy a Christmas gift for the foodie in your house. So we'll do like three basic items, and then we'll do like two over the top chefy things that may be on the more expensive side, but absolutely worth it. So first off is a high quality chef's knife. Um, I've got a couple. I'm kind of weird about my knives, but I do for my general knives. I have two brands that I use: Wusthoffs and Shuns. I have these in descriptions in some of my videos when I talk about my gear. This is definitely one of those. There are some custom knife brands that are out there. This one is custom with mine. You probably can't see it in this light, but it's got my name in Japanese etched into it. I found this at a food show. I absolutely loved it, but they're also on, I believe, Etsy. So again, kind of a cool thing. Nice Japanese steel. Knives are absolutely where it's at. It's a great money spin. It's a tool that you know you're going to use. How often do you get a Christmas present or something and then it just sits in a drawer forever? You're going to use the knife, 100%. Next thing, obviously, a mixer. A standing mixer absolutely is important to a kitchen. So many things you can make from, whipping whipped cream and spices. We use it as a meat grinder. It can roll pasta doughs. It can do so much. But you got to have that, KitchenAid mixer. And again, I always go KitchenAid. That's one of those few things that I'm really brand heavy on. We just literally retired my grandmother's, and it was over 45 years old. And if I was maybe smart enough and mechanically engineered enough to repair it, I probably could have because you can find parts for them. I just don't have that mechanical. Everyone's got a different brain. Unfortunately, my level of ADHD is not specifically towards that. So that would be my number two, though. Final one for like regular house use items would probably be pans. And that sounds crazy, but again, it's all about the pans, what you're cooking on. And I really have two different sets that I really like to use. I really do, and again, it's not just because I was on Hell's Kitchen, and I literally, for now, like I don't have any sponsorship or them from them at the moment. But hex clad pans are absolutely spectacular. Love those hex clad pans. They're definitely going to be in that video. They are a little on the expensive side. I will admit that, but they're absolutely worth it. We put those pans through the absolute ringer on that show. I'm like scraping it a metal uh, thing and our tongs, and then I'm going over and on to the next thing with it, putting it in a 550-degree oven. It is takes an absolute beating. So my next two items, though, the two specialty items for the inspiring chef. Next is I don't have it with me, but I have a sous vide machine. I love my sous vide machine. I don't really use it enough, I think, sometimes, but I've actually used it in job interviews and it's gone over crazy well. And you can just do so much with it. It really allows you to basically your vacuum packing meats, and then you can put it down in a water bath and then put this immersion circulator into the water, and then it spirals the water around at a very specific temp. So if you say, I want my meat at 140 degrees, it's going to take that water to 140 degrees. It'll hold it there, meaning that meat will not continue to cook. It'll only go to 140 degrees, so you can't overcook it. It's kind of like a cheat code. So it makes super, super tender meat. The last thing is, and again, it kind of depends on people's flavor. We have a whole video on this that's already out, but I'm really specific on cookbooks. Now, there are specific cookbooks that I really, really love. All the John Foles cookbooks are more expensive. They're typically $75 to $150. But like the Encyclopedia of Cajun and Creole Cuisine is absolutely one of my top favorite cookbooks. Every single item in that book that I have mimicked that recipe has come out absolutely perfect. I didn't need to add salt. I didn't need to add pepper. That's absolutely insane. So again, I think that's a low key. We have a whole video on that. So if you're interested in cookbooks, make sure I make that this other video over here. So we'll do the turkey video over here, and all the books and everything that Mary Ev and I like we'll have over here. But it is been a pleasure today. Make sure that you get ready for Wednesday night. We'll be right back here having a great time. Again, I think it'll be a great time. People can be working on their turkeys and everything, all their mise en place for all you chefs out there. And while you're doing that, we can listen in and talk together almost like a mini podcast, and we can ask questions live. And again, we're here just to hang out, have fun. There's no judgment. Again, we've all cooked our first Thanksgiving meal, and it all went bad the first time, right? I remember the first time I made Thanksgiving meal for my little girlfriend. It went terrible, super terrible. But, we all got to make our mistakes. And that's kind of what it's all about, having fun, getting in the kitchen, making mistakes. And we're excited for that. So if you've not had a chance yet, make sure that you hit subscribe. Many of the people who watch all these videos, so we've got, we're averaging 250, 300 people hopping in live and out of live or watching within the first 24 hours, but only about 25 to 30 of you are actually subscribed. So make sure you subscribe. That way you get a notification. You can hit the little bell to make sure you get the little ding, 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 ding on your phone. Lets you know right then and there when we are live, when we post a video. And again, it is such a blessing. So I want to make sure you know before you leave how thankful I am for you as we roll into the season of holidays. There's just so much to be thankful for this year, and yes, all the Hell's Kitchen stuff, but most of all, I'm super thankful for you guys. It's really changed my life here in the last year that we've developed this channel and people are here with us, and there's so much going on. There's so much positive momentum. We're releasing a video on what we're doing in 2026 because yes, Hell's Kitchen is great, but now it's on to the next thing. We can't just rest on that. We got to continue to move forward. So we got amazing projects set up for 2026, and I'm gonna need your help for that. So make sure you stick around for that video. But in the meantime, we love you. We're super thankful for you. Turkey video for all you non-livers is going to be over here. And then our episode on specific cookbooks that I would get for anybody that is wanting a cookbook is going to be over here. We'll see you next time here on Deep South Live.